Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SirLinksalot podcast. I am your host, Artemis, and today's guest is many things. So, taking a crack at an intro with him that actually does him justice was a bit of a chore, but I will give it a try either way. So, Mike D wears many hats as an entrepreneur, a podcaster, a YouTuber, a speaker, a coach, and the CEO of Playstack, which is a YouTube growth agency that partners with industry leaders such as Notion, Skillshare, and NordVPN. Through Playstack, he's helped scale hundreds of seven-figure YouTube channels, giving him a front row seat to what it takes to really turn views into real business results. But Mike isn't just someone who teaches strategy from the sidelines. His own productivity-focused YouTube channel has earned him over 1 million subscribers, proving that he doesn't just talk the talk, he also walks the walk. And today, he's going to be sharing with us his expertise on all things YouTube search, optimization, and tools so you can stay flexible in an ever-changing YouTube landscape. So first of all, Mike, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
The pleasure is all mine. So, of course, obviously, I did my homework. I learned so many exciting things about you, but I want to start with your hero origin story. So, in another podcast that I saw, you describe yourself as an introvert who was perfectly content working the night shift stacking shelves before taking charge of your life and moving abroad while starting your own YouTube channel. So, I want to know if this introversion that you have was an obstacle when it comes to first starting your YouTube channel. And if so, what advice do you have for fellow introverts who are really interested in growing their YouTube channels, but feel like that might be a barrier to entry for them?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a strange story. So, I graduated high school. I wasn't the best student. I got pretty average grades. I applied for a few universities. 4 out of 5 rejected me, so I had one choice left. And I was like, I don't want to go to that university. So I started a job stacking shelves at a supermarket, and it was actually quite dangerous because I really enjoyed that job. And it's very easy. Like I was working alongside people that had been there for literally 20, 30, even 40 years in some cases. And then like I was almost going to be in that position because I loved that job so much. But it got to a point where there was a so the supermarket that I was working at is the biggest employer in the UK. So I'm from the UK, and there was like a horse meat scandal, and then there was an accounting scandal, and then Lidl and Aldi were eating into their market share. So there was a lot of pressure on management to really jig everything up and start running more efficiently, and that pressure came down to us as well, to the shelf stackers essentially. So I was there for about 2 years, and then one time the manager got us into the office and they were like, look, if you don't speed up, we're going to fire you. And I was like, I can't be fired from a supermarket. Like, that's terrible. So, I was like, okay, I fired. So I fired myself and I left. I quit the job. I walked out. That it was the night shift, so I walked out at about 4 or 5 in the morning, and I never went back. And I booked a one way flight to Bangkok, to Thailand. And that's really where everything changed, where I met some incredible people. Like some of them had Lamborghinis, Ferraris, like really very, at least financially successful or successful in the business world, let's say. And they really helped open my eyes into what is actually possible. And so so after being kind of exposed to these very, very successful people, I I went back to the UK and I got my degree. I started studying at university, and I was trying a lot of things. I wasn't earning at the time. So I was like, okay, I need to start a business. I need to start earning money. And so I started a few different things, and I stumbled across making faceless YouTube videos, because I was too much of an introvert to put my face in the videos. And so I started that in about 2016, and that grew pretty quickly. And as you mentioned, I was and I am an introvert, and so that's one of the biggest obstacles that people kind of stumble across when starting a YouTube channel. It's like, I don't want to put my face for everyone to see, because literally everyone, as long as you've got a Wi-Fi connection, you can see the content that you're making. Um, so my kind of strategy or my tip is that I didn't tell anyone. So I just grew, like the channel started growing pretty quickly. And it grew to 50,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers. But it was a faceless YouTube channel, right? I didn't actually put my face in the channel.
Right.
And it wasn't until I got to about 300,000 subscribers and I was like, I'm gonna try just with one video. I'm going to try and buy a microphone, buy a camera, and actually put my face in front of the camera. And that was one of the best business decisions, even the best life decisions I've ever made, because once I did that, my revenue increased exponentially because suddenly the audience were building a connection with me, with a human being, as opposed to a faceless YouTube channel. And so, and then there's all the other different skill sets that you learn from talking in front of a camera, like communication and confidence and that kind of thing, and personal branding as well.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely life changing. This was back into I put my face in front of the camera for the first time 2019, I think, so about 6 years ago, and one of the best things I've ever done.
Gotcha. So you started in 2016 and you were running the channel for 3 years before you actually had your face on the channel in general. And once you got over that
Exactly.
hurdle, that's when you really started taking off. So your biggest advice to introverts is if you really want to make it work, just get over it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And you don't like one of the best things, as I mentioned, that I did was I didn't tell anyone. Like, you don't need to post your links on social media. Just kind of work in the background, build something in the background. You don't need to be, yelling from the rooftops.
Wait, so
Just
you were
make the
moving
content.
completely in silence. Like your friends didn't know that you had this YouTube channel because, your face wasn't on it. They didn't know about it.
Well, my close friends did. Even my friends did, but like I didn't post it on social media, and a lot of people didn't know. And even to this day, I mean, if you go to my personal Facebook, I don't think I have even my YouTube channel that I've been running on the main one since 2016, so like 9 years. I don't even think I post that YouTube channel on my Facebook account. So yeah, to
Gotcha.
this
So
day,
you
I
were
still somewhat keep it separate. Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So you started this all the way back in 2016, and right now that's almost 10 years ago. Oh my gosh. I want to know what's changed about YouTube and the methods that you might use to get successful on the platform since then. Do you find that normally putting your face in front of the camera still works?
So there's two things. So firstly, it's become a lot more competitive and saturated, but also it's become a lot easier to grow on YouTube. So that's kind of a contradiction in that it's become more saturated and competitive, but also it's become easier. And it's become easier because around the back end of 2024, YouTube changed their algorithm and basically gave more. They allowed smaller channels to grow a lot faster. And if you look at the big channels like Imam Gadzi, like Alex Samosi, like Ali Abdul, these big like 5 million plus subscriber channels, you'll see it across the board. Those views have decreased. I mean, they're still getting hundreds of thousands, even millions of views per video in some cases, but generally they've decreased. And you'll see on your home feed now a lot of small creators with like 100 views, 300 views, and so YouTube is really giving the smaller creator more of a chance. So that's how YouTube's become easier over the last 9 or 10 years. However, on the other hand, on the flip side, it's become a lot harder because there's a lot more YouTube channels out there,
Right.
and it's become more competitive. And so now it's really about strategy. It's about having like 3 or 4 years ago, having like a 5 or 10 second like brand intro where you show your logo for like 3 or 4 seconds and then the logo goes away and then you start talking. Like that doesn't happen anymore in 2025 because audience retention is everything. Audience retention is so important. And so it's really important that number one, your hook is very, very powerful. The first 3 seconds, the first 5 seconds, you hook the viewer in, you give the viewer a reason to actually stay. The second thing, open loops or curiosity gaps, meaning like you start saying something, but then you stop and then you'll say, okay, but I'll talk about that a bit later on in the video. And the best YouTube channels like Mr. Beast, for example, I watched one of his videos a few months ago now, and it had 18 open loops in one 15-minute video.
Wow.
And you wouldn't notice if you was just watching the video. You'd just come to the end of the video and you'd think, oh, that was amazing, but you wouldn't quite know why. But if you really see the psychology of it, he's got so many curiosity gaps, so many open loops throughout the entire video. So it's strategies like that are more important now than it was 5 years ago to 10 years ago.
Gotcha. I've definitely noticed that across the board as well. For example, there's this big theory that people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter because of, the advent of short form video. It's always been there, but now it's more prominent and kind of dominating every landscape, whether it's like YouTube, initiating shorts, or everybody spending time on TikTok or Instagram Reels and things like that. So that definitely adds up with you having to kind of grab their attention right off the bat. I definitely see that. Another like major development just across the board in every industry right now is obviously AI. So I want to know if you use AI in the work that you do for your clients and what your current like tech stack is looking like right now.
So yeah, AI is going to be absolutely massive in every industry, but in the video marketing industry as well. I think one of the biggest things is AI avatars. So we're seeing some YouTube channels where the individual, the host, has now been replaced by an AI avatar. And I was watching one of these examples just a couple of days ago, actually, and I was expecting the views of their AI avatar to decrease, like to get significantly fewer views than the human. But they were able to pump out 3 videos a day because you're not, because the bottleneck now, or at least the bottleneck with me filming, is my energy, is my time. So I can film like 5 videos in a morning, like batch record, and then I'm absolutely exhausted. Like that's it, I'm done for the rest of the day. But with an AI avatar, it can just make video after video after video, and it doesn't get tired. And so I think that's the next big thing. And I think a lot of people on YouTube are really watching that closely. In terms of my AI tech stack, so Claude has been an absolute game changer over the last, such a YouTuber term, such a game changer over the last year, and for script writing. So I'm running right now. I'm running about 4 or 5. So Playstack, we run YouTube channels for our clients, but we also have our own portfolio of YouTube channels. So we have about 5 or 6 YouTube channels, and I'm running all of them. And I'm only able to do that because Claude is amazing for script writing. Now, it's important that you train Claude up, that you still use the strategy, you still tell it to have very powerful hooks, a very concise, short outro, absolutely zero fluff. You always use examples, anecdotes, personal stories, that kind of thing, curiosity gaps throughout. So the strategy is still important. So it's important that you still train Claude up. 8 months ago, 10 months ago, we was using ChatGPT, but then I A/B tested for about 2 or 3 weeks. I basically put the same prompts into ChatGPT as I did Claude and just tested which came out with the best kind of scripts. And Claude generated the best scripts about 90% of the time. So then we just moved everything over to Claude, and Claude has been amazing in terms of just saving time. Like 2 years ago, there's no way that I'd be able to run myself personally 5 YouTube channels. But now, with the help of Claude, it's saved so much time. So I
They
would
should
say
pay you
Claude
for
is
that
the
one.
biggest.
I feel like I want to switch now. Like,
Yeah.
not
I mean, it's so easy
sponsored.
to. Yeah, so I was at a conference and I was talking to, it was a digital marketing conference, but there were a lot of YouTubers there. And I was talking to one YouTuber and he was like, "Oh, why are you using ChatGPT? Like, use Claude." And I'm like, "Okay, what? Okay." Like, I thought about it and I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then the second person, like the next day, said the same thing. And then a third person said the same thing. I'm like, "Okay, if 3 people in 1 week tell me to move to Claude, then I've got to test it out." And so I did,
Right.
and it helps us a lot.
Gotcha. So I'd be foolish not to at least give it a shot. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted.
For
Even
sure.
when you're using Claude, you kind of have to know the prompts that you need to put in to get what you want out of the LLM. I'm curious to know if you think that AI will eventually be able to bridge that gap and replace parts of the creative process more like in a heavy-handed way, or do you think it'll always require this kind of human touch to resonate with viewers on YouTube?
It's a tough one. I mean, and this is again the debate of, are we just going to be replaced? Is YouTube just going to be replaced with like 98% AI avatars, and we're not actually going to see human beings on YouTube anymore? And I don't think that will be the case. I think that at the end of the day, we're social creatures. And one of my YouTube channels I review carbon road bikes. And people want to hear my human opinions and experiences on a bike that I bought a month ago and I've tested, I've put 500 kilometers on it, and people want to hear my opinion. They don't want to hear like an AI generated opinion of a new product because it's a new product. Like how will AI know whether it's a good product yet?
Right.
So there's that. I think, you know, some roles in the video creation space are already being uh, uh, are already being overtaken by AI. So, for example, script writing. Script writers, I used to spend thousands of dollars a month on script writers about a year and a half ago. Now I now that's like it's decreased by about 95%. Like
Wow.
because AI is just a lot better. So the script writing industry, I guess, has been decimated. Now the next industry, I think, thumbnails and thumbnail designers. So there's a like ChatGPT, Claude are not great with AI image generation, but Nano Banana. I don't know whether you've ever tried Nano Banana.ai. Amazing, amazing, amazing for creating thumbnails. And so I did a review on my Garmin Forerunner, and my designer made a thumbnail of me swimming underwater with my watch like this. And it's not actually me swimming underwater, it's just AI, an AI generated image. And the
Is it
reason why
waterproof?
that's it's waterproof. Yeah, that
Okay.
would be weird if it wasn't waterproof.
That adds up.
And that's powerful because people want to see thumbnails of you actually using the watch or you actually using the product or that product in front of you. That's really important, that it's not just like a fake PNG pop-up of the watch on the screen. So software like Nano Banana are soon going to be taking the jobs of a lot of designers out there. And then after that, then it will be the video editors. Video editors for now are still safe, but for how long? For maybe 6 months, for a year, for 2 years, and it seems like the creative industry just step by step, year by year, is just taking over. And then it's like, okay, how long until the host doesn't
Mm.
have a job anymore?
Do
And
you
that's
see
why
this?
it's important. Just yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
sorry. When it comes to brands in general, do you see this as like a threat for brands or as an opportunity more so?
I think it's almost irrelevant whether it's a threat or an opportunity because as a business owner, we've got to, we can't just hide from it. And so
Right.
we've got to see it as an opportunity. I know that the creative industry, they didn't like it quite understandably because AI is taking away a lot of creativity. It's also, you could argue, preventing us or preventing how much thinking we actually need to do because AI will just do everything. And the risk there is, and we see this a lot with YouTube, is a lot of content creators are just like getting AI to create the script because they don't want to write it themselves. But then the script is so generic and it's so clearly AI, and that's problematic. If you're just using AI with no thinking. So even when I'm using AI to write scripts, I'm still adding a lot of my personal experiences, a lot of my anecdotes, a lot of my personal stories about, like, a story of what happened a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I think that is very, very important when it comes to YouTube and just content in general.
Gotcha, for sure. And I've definitely seen those videos where you can tell that 110% of the script is completely
Mhm.
generated with AI. And I think that most viewers can tell as well. So
Yeah,
it tends to, have people tune out because let's be honest, AI just isn't there yet. But like you said, maybe in like a year, 2 years, maybe it will be. But at the end of the
yeah,
day, it's not going to be able to take your personal experience and suck it out of your brain and then shove it in the YouTube script.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And the easiest way to tell is like with text, with AI generated text, because you've got the hyphen, the super long
Oh,
hyphen that the
yeah, the
AI.
M dash.
Yeah, I mean, I banned it in my company. Like, no one's allowed to use that hyphen because it's like as soon as you send that to a client, they know straight away. And it's like the content could be amazing, but if you see that, you straight away devalue it because you're like, oh, AI wrote that. It wasn't a human person. And so it's like it's
Right.
such an easy thing to just like even just have a prompt or train your AI not to use that. But it's such an easy thing. But a lot of people, they're still posting hyphens everywhere.
I
I
mean,
don't even
even
know
with
where that is on my like even if I wanted to type it, I don't know where it is on my keyboard.
I've never used it. I've always used the
No.
very pointed short dash if I'm trying to,
Yeah, me
use it
too,
in
me
that
too.
functionality. Even use a semicolon. Use something that's not so blatantly offensive at this point. But I feel like
Exactly.
in general, that kind of thing depends on the industry. Like, for example, you can tell if something is AI on, other social media platforms because you ask ChatGPT to generate a caption and it throws in like 20 emojis and it just looks like somebody wrote it while smashing on the keyboard in some way. So but again, it definitely depends on what industry. So I want to know, what industries do you normally have clients in for Playstack? I noticed that there's a good amount of SaaS products in you guys' portfolio, but do you guys have other like diverse clientele that you service as well?
Yeah, so we have a lot of SaaS. We work primarily with SaaS, finance, lawyers, and SEO.
Okay,
And it's kind of been not an issue, but it's been something we've really been trying to dial in that we want to focus on just like two or three industries. But the problem is that we get so much interest from all different industries, and so we focus more on is there a gap in the market? Is there actually potential to grow a YouTube channel fast for that client? And that is our biggest indicator in terms of whether we can work with them.
gotcha. And I think that it speaks to how vast your own experience is as well, because having like you have a review channel, then you've got the road bike channel, and I've seen both, and they do clearly have different strategies because they're in different industries, but it shows just that you probably have that diverse experience in making things take off because both channels that I've seen are doing pretty well. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's psychology at the end of the day. If you can, I think this is the same for marketers just in general, or even business people in general. It's all about psychology, and if you can understand, because all a video is you're selling time. So, like Stephen Bartlett on the Diary of a CEO, he's really good at this. So he's a really good salesperson, and he gives you a really good reason in the first 30 seconds of, or the first 60 seconds of every podcast episode. He gives you a very good reason why you should invest the next 2 hours of your time to watch his episode. And it's just sales, right? He's selling audience retention, he's selling minutes, he's selling attention.
Gotcha. And I also have consumed that content as well. And it's one of those things where I don't know why I keep watching, like you said, but psychologically, he clearly knows what he's doing to hook in the viewer. And that's the sort of
Mm.
thing that personally I struggle with because, you know, when it comes to those hooks, you have to figure out what the audience actually wants to stay tuned and keep listening for. So that's definitely something that I can see a lot of brands might struggle with as well. Do you find that most clients that you come are focused on like just kind of getting more metrics and views and subscribers and all those vanity metrics? Or do you have to like shift their mindset to leads and revenue? Or do they just come off the gate saying, we want leads, we want to see more conversions, and you kind of tailor their strategy based on those goals?
I get a surprising number of people that I talk to, and they say, I want to increase my views or I want to increase my subscribers. And I have to ask them a few questions because they don't want to increase their views. They're a business at the end of the day, and most businesses don't care too much about views or subscribers. What they care about is leads, what they care about is revenue. And so at Playstack, we focus like we're so dialed in on two metrics. The first one is actually getting views, and the second thing is turning those views into actual leads, into actual revenue. And there's a few things that you can do. So, for example, having the call to action above the fold in the description, like the call to action should be the top line. And that's such a basic thing to increase the conversions. But a lot of businesses, they'll have their call to action, the one thing that they're selling, or a lead magnet, or a newsletter, or whatever, like buried right at the bottom or in the middle of the description. And it's like, why would you make it difficult for your, or why would you add friction to make your viewer click on that link?
Gotcha. So they shouldn't be increasing the barrier to entry. They should make it as easy as possible right there, smack front and center, so they can click on it.
Exactly. And I work with a lot of sponsors on all of my channels, and pretty much every sponsor will ask for the link in the top line of the description and the pinned comments. So it's like it's as obvious as it can be.
Gotcha. I didn't know that. That's good to know. So your company offers quite a few services right now, from coaching to end-to-end management for your clients. Where would you say your clients kind of struggle the most when they're calling you guys for help? Like what do they really need all hands on deck for?
So I would say the vast majority of our clients, before they start working with us, they've already been on YouTube for a while. And the problem is that they've got kind of like a general marketer running their YouTube channel for them.
Right.
And ideally, you want a YouTuber running your YouTube channel for you because there's a lot to learn with every platform, right? And that's also why we focus just on YouTube. We don't generally tend to touch TikTok or Instagram or other video platforms. Like we want to become like the best at growing YouTube channels. And so generally they've been uploading on YouTube for months, if not years. So there was one of our clients. He was on YouTube he'd been posting every week on YouTube for about 5 or 6 years, and he was averaging about 1,000 views per video for 5 years. And then we started working with them, and on our second video, we got them to 1 million views on that second video. Bearing in
Wow.
mind, and that became, out of more than 1,000 videos, that was their most viewed video on the whole channel. And that really goes to show how a lot of businesses, they're just kind of posting videos every week, and maybe breaking even, maybe making a loss, maybe wasting a lot of time and money every week. But it's like if you just implement a bit of strategy in there, then you can, because you're spending the time anyway, you're spending the money anyway, you might as well do it properly.
Right, of course. And I kind of want to dig in and explore that a little bit more with you because that kind of difference in views is kind of insane. So, when you get a hold of a client, doesn't matter the industry, what are the most important things that you would change, like right off the bat? You get the client, you're saying, okay, we're going to change this and this right away in order to see those kinds of results. Maybe obviously not something as dramatic as 1 million views, but just a market improvement. What would you go for as low-hanging fruit?
Low-hanging fruit, the single biggest thing is finding gaps in the market. So we do a market analysis and we figure out what video titles are working, what video titles are not. One of the worst things that I see is when people just come up with a random video idea. It's not data backed. They just thought of the idea and then they make a video on it. But it's like YouTube is YouTube. You don't need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to YouTube. There's so much data out there. There's millions, billions of videos out there. So there's data there. So it's about using that data to figure out where the gaps in the market is, where the demand is. And so the first thing we do is find the gaps in the market, because that's by far the easiest way to grow on YouTube, is to find those gaps in the market. There's a lot of different ways to do this. One of the easiest ways and simplest ways is go to your competitor, rank his videos for most popular, and see what videos are really popping off, and then make a video on those popular topics, but with your own angle on it, your own spin on it. And ideally, one-upping every single area. You make the title better, the thumbnail better, the SEO better, the editing, the storytelling, the chapters, every single thing better. And in theory, that video should do quite well. So it's just about reverse engineering what already works. So that's the first thing. The second thing, really powerful, punchy title, curiosity evoking. Third thing, thumbnail, very bright, catchy. Thumbnail, make sure that the thumbnail matches with the title, which matches with the first 3 seconds of the video. It's called the rule of 3. If you go to any of Mr. Beast's videos, he does a lot of videos like $1 house versus $1 billion house. So the
Right.
thumbnail will be the $1 billion house. The title will have $1 billion house in it. And then the first 5 seconds will show you the $1 billion house, because, and it's powerful from a psychological perspective, because there's a lot of clickbait on YouTube. And the viewer clicked on that video because he wants to see, or she wants to see, the $1 billion house. So you satisfy that curiosity within the first 3 seconds. And then that viewer knows, okay, I clicked on this video, is the right decision, I'm going to continue watching. So there's strategies like that. Like there's so many different things that you can optimize on YouTube, like 30, 40, 50 different things. And if you basically tick off that whole checklist, then it's actually relatively easy to grow on YouTube.
Gotcha. So when it comes to those optimizations, are those mostly focused towards trying to pop up in search, like if somebody is searching for something in the YouTube search bar, or are you trying to get your clients' videos recommended on the homepage, or maybe a mixture of both?
It's usually a mixture of both. However, I almost always prioritize getting in suggested and browse, meaning when someone's browsing on the home feed or when you're watching a video and then you've got the sidebar of all the recommended videos, I would
Right.
try and get on those. There's certain topics where search is everything. For example, like a video on how to unblock a toilet. It's very unlikely that you're lying in bed and you're just scrolling and you see a video how to unblock a toilet in 3 easy steps, and then you click on the video. Like that doesn't generally happen. But if you block your toilet, then you would search it. And so those kind of YouTube channels would be more search based.
Gotcha. That makes complete sense. So you've given us a giant wealth of information on everything from like YouTube search and optimizations and things like that. But I kind of want to sign off on knowing what's next for you. What's next for your business? What are you looking forward to in the next couple of years?
The next couple of years. So Playstack's growing quite nicely. I want to continue growing Playstack as it is. We're also growing our portfolio YouTube channels, which is quite a new endeavor. We only started this about 4 months ago, but those YouTube channels are doing amazing. We're getting so much data in terms of what's working, but also what's not working.
Right.
And so we just want to continue growing. Like we're on a really good trajectory. I'm very lucky that I can speak at a lot of conferences, and I love traveling, and it's a good excuse to travel. And yeah, just continue what we're doing.
Sounds good. What's next on the conference circuit for you?
I've got SEO Shenzhen in 6 days, and then I'll be in Poland and then Ukraine. There's a conference in Lviv, and then I'll be in India for a conference there, and then I've got DCBK in Bangkok, and then I'm flying back home.
Oh my
So kind of
gosh,
busy next month.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's going to be crazy packed for you. So if you guys want to follow Mike's adventures and see what he's doing with Playstack and maybe hear some of his talks at his conferences, I'm going to leave some links below so that you can get more information on where to find him and what he's been up to. But in the meantime, thank you so much for taking the time to chat. Mike, you've given us a lot to chew on in this podcast. But for the rest of our viewers, I'm going to see you guys in the next one. All right. Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, make sure to give us a like, drop a comment, subscribe, so you don't miss out on any future SEO insights. And hey, if you're serious about your rankings, head over to SirLinksalot.co, check out our premium link building services, guides, and free SEO tools. See you next time.